Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It begins in a post-apocalyptic future, but everything has returned to looking like it's 16th century England. Invaders blockade an outpost whose lord struggles to see through his helmet as he tells his daughter Kyra to return to the kitchen. The capable fighters in this fella face a monster unrelated to the enemy named Grendel, as these people have had a really hard time of it. Its attacks happen every night, but when the king Hrothgar takes his helmet off to actually see the beast, it says in perfect English that it isn't here for him. Like always, Grendel disappears into the shadows and a traumatized peasant woman Pendral attempts to flee from the outpost when the sun rises. She's swiftly captured as apparently nobody told her about the invasion force, who give her a level of beating that's probably a little overboard. They bring her back to their war camp where a bodybuilding Jack Skellington uses a giant straight razor to execute even the prettiest of prisoners. Horn helmets trying to prevent evil from spreading throughout the kingdom, as they all know about the monster inside the castle but not the details. Like the one about the woman they're about to cleave in half having nothing to do with it, but luckily they're interrupted by the arrival of Beowulf. The stranger tells them to release Pendral, but when they refuse the polite request, he puts an arrow in the executioner's head. All hell breaks loose as Beowulf massacres the ill-equipped army due to seemingly none of them having any ranged weapons. Horny sends out his swashbuckling Cyclops, as he must be their best fighter, but he's going up against the James Bond of medieval times. With a plethora of gadgets and collapsible weapons, Beowulf dismounts his cycloptic adversary on his good side so nobody can say he cheated. Possessing supernatural abilities unhindered by gravity, Beowulf begins to dismantle the rest of the forces while inserting flips any chance that he gets. He releases Pendral from her restraints and kills a few more soldiers with no signs of slowing down, so the leader just gives up and agrees to let them go. Pendral goes with her savior, but upon realizing that he's bringing her back to the demon-inhabited outpost, she decides to just bail out instead. Miss Logical here would rather be slain by the enemy, so after all his wasted effort, our hero reaches the castle walls one failed rescue attempt later. He's interrogated at the gate by Commander Roland, who thinks that Beowulf has been sent by the enemy to kill them in their sleep. The Weaponsmaster says that it's for the king to decide, so they let the Mercenary into where the diminishing defenders are down to only 40 fighters. Roland takes him to meet Hrothgar, who's lucky Beowulf isn't an actual enemy because he gives this stranger everything, including a room to sleep under the same roof. He gets shown to his bedchambers by Nepo baby weaponsmith William, who's crap at his job and only got it because his uncle's the boss. He meets Kyra, who seems to have sewn her corset to her jacket sleeves and trusts the stranger about as much as she covers up. She goes on to tell him everything about herself and how her husband died while training with Roland, but it's clear that she's lying. We see that it isn't far-fetched though, as the commander beats around some barely there knights and almost kills a man who's 2.5% of their entire army. That night they all come together in the Great Hall for dinner, where Kyra and Beowulf throw flirty insults back and forth while the jealous Roland pulls some goofy faces. When the hunter senses evil inside the castle, Roland tries to call his bluff, but a guard enters to tell the idiot to shut up as they have a problem. Grendel has become more brazen since Beowulf's arrival and has killed the weaponsmith in broad daylight, which by the reaction has never happened. The creature's already gone and it wouldn't be a good time to make a joke about the nephew getting promoted, but our hero does it anyway. During the night, after a cryptic conversation about how Beowulf walks between two worlds and the darkness brought him to Kyra, Beowulf's confronted by Roland, who has a jealous tantrum and thinks that attacking him with a dagger is somehow better than using his sword. But either way, our hero was going to spank this kid around until he runs back to mommy with his tail between his legs. Meanwhile, a sleeping Hrothgar has a visit from October's playmate from 2 years prior, wearing her most modest of outfits. The mysterious woman licks the king's face and rides him a little, but when Hrothgar wakes up he finds no intruder to penetrate with his greatsword. The next day Grendel appears again and kills the blacksmith, but all young William can describe that he saw was something big and ugly. Since their numbers are dwindling, the king allows Kyra to join the hunt while the rest of the women and children get evacuated into a church. Once the doors are sealed, the knights begin to hear screaming from inside, but are too late as Grendel has already killed all of their families. Beowulf leads a party crossbows akimbo as the unnamed soldiers are picked off one by one, while the ones with names are only knocked away. No weapons can pierce Grendel's hide, so when the creature goes for Kyra, Beowulf flips onto his back to stop him but gets tossed aside. He then gets disemboweled by the claws, but all it takes is for the king to challenge it again for Grendel to run away. That night Hrothgar gets a visit from Nipples again, though she's wearing a tube top under her fishnet this time, as I guess the contract was limited. In the morning, Kyra and her friends notice that the hunter's wounds have already healed and asks him for an explanation. Beowulf claims that there isn't enough time to give the 2-second explanation and instead spends even longer saying some cryptic thing about how the darkness brought him. He doesn't actually need to do anything right now, and the next scene is just him making friends with an injured Roland over a meal. The douchebag apologizes for being such a douchebag and says that he didn't kill Kyra's husband, who was a drunken abuser anyway. Beowulf then has the new smith craft him some custom blade thingy which doesn't even get a dramatic montage before it's ready. When he's about to leave, Kyra finds it the perfect time to confess that she killed her husband when he became drunk and tried to beat her. She fears that Grendel is her husband's ghost haunting her, so Beowulf says that spirits don't eat people but still calls her a murderer for good measure. When he takes off, Kyra hears a sound and goes to check it out, but it's only another scene to showcase the gorgeous lighting in this castle. Meanwhile, the two adversaries do battle in a flooded crypt or possibly the public sewers, but either way it's nicer than most of their homes. During their soggy scuffle, Grendel gets the upper hand, but Beowulf gets the whole arm when he uses his new custom weapon to cut off the entire limb. The monster's roar alerts the whole castle as it scurries away into the shadows, but for some reason everyone acts like it's dead. Beowulf brings the arm back to the king, who has it hung high above the castle so the invading force will pack up their crap and leave. The whole kingdom celebrates like it's 1569, and even Beowulf, who should know better, tells Kyra he plans to leave as his mission here is complete. Princess Peaches expresses romantic feelings for Beowulf, who doesn't reveal that he's actually the son of a demon until after possibly impregnating her. He says that his mother was tricked into sleeping with a demon named Baal and that he's only able to suppress the evil inside him by slaying monsters. He suddenly senses something as the once again topless woman is shown approaching the commander on this particularly cold night. She seduces Roland when Kyra and her father get to the Great Hall to find everyone already slaughtered at the hands of the perky witch. Roland's corpse crashes down on the table as his killer appears wearing a blood-covered top that just spontaneously appeared under her netting. She reveals herself to be the woman that the king cheated on his wife with years ago, resulting in the depressed mother taking her life. She says that Grendel is their shared love child, which is why he spared Hrothgar's life until now when he tries to attack his mother. The one-armed son kills his father and knocks Kyra unconscious, but Beowulf arrives and the missing arm allows him to impale Grendel with his sword. The mother attempts to appeal to Beowulf's inner evil and seduce him over to the dark side, but he refuses of course and just pisses her off. She bides her time blabbering while absorbing Grendel's life force and transforming into something that Lovecraft wouldn't even bother to describe. Beowulf battles the fleshy spider, and when she knocks the sword to the ground he flips around the chamber to escape. When she catches him he uses a dagger to get away and makes it back to his sword, but just drops it again as she pins him against the wall. Wasting time playing with her food like a proper villain, Beowulf just picks up his weapon and sets her on fire, as apparently this castle runs on gas. That one wall sconce turns out to be the self-destruct button for the entire outpost that collapses in on itself as the mother perishes in the fire. Beowulf finds Kyra mourning her father with absolutely no survival instincts and ushers her to safety as she couldn't do it herself. They watch her entire life burn down, so Kyra must convince the mercenary to let her accompany him on his adventure. It takes 3 warnings from Beowulf that she will probably die with him before the nagging finally makes him cave. And the movie ends.